All right. So thank you for being here today. And hopefully, this will provide a very good orientation, allow you the opportunities to ask questions. And then I'll do a student demo with my own account from the beginning that you get your login on how to move through the course. And this will provide some clarity to move forward. Okay. So as I mentioned early, the name of the program is PMHNP 30 Days Walk to Success. Some people can do it in 3 weeks. Some people can do it in 8 weeks. Some people may need 16 weeks. Regardless, there is no charge, no monthly charge. You can take your time. At this point on, all that I care is that you pass the board. Okay. You can stay with me for 6 months if you want to. It is dangerous doing so because you may have covered some modules, but if you're taking too long, it doesn't mean you retain. The best way to go about it is focus study, 8 weeks all in. Now, some people can do it in 30 days, like VG. She just passed the board yesterday. She was in the Kahoot. She said, hey, I did in 30 days, but I studied a minimum 6 hours a day. She completed the whole modules in 30 days. But this is not the reality for most of us. Most of us have a job, a family, and other commitments. And that's why we say, hey, I think the best way to go about it is 8 weeks time frame, allow you the opportunity to finish 5 modules, attend the crash course review, and 2 weeks to finish your diagnostic test and make adjustments. Okay. All right. So, start off, my name is Dr. Lopez. I've been doing this for almost 6 years with students in many different locations. And this is pretty much where everyone starts, extremely stressed, right? From week one, where are the question bank? Where's the question bank is located? Where's the documents are located? But once you pass through week one, it kind of everything's settled because it's nothing but repetition. So we'll cover the weeks, usually modules 1 through 5 by week 5. But this is in general, this is where we're looking at. There are 5 modules. Week 6, we call it the crash course review. Then modules 7, 8, 9, and 10 is your diagnostic test 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you are done. Okay. So I really like the 8 weeks track, but it's totally up to you how fast you want to go. You could finish one module per day and you could be done in 7 days. If this is, you wake up early in the morning, you do your videos and you do your question bank, you are done with the module, right? Now, being done is not necessarily what you want. You want to retain the information. And that is the reason why we do micro learning. One module may have um, one module may have 25 videos, for example, but it does not mean that each video is 1 hour. In fact, very rarely a video will be more than 20 minutes. So it is really adaptive to working adults. Maybe you are only able to do 5 videos. Well, that's about 50 minutes, right? 10 minutes per video, one topic, short videos to the point, and move on. But ideally, you want to finish one module per week. Now, we have several communities on the WhatsApp. Now it's a great time to pull your WhatsApp if you have one, and if you feel you want to join a community. Now, those communities, they kind of they go by fast. Okay, super fast. There's only about 1,000 people allowed per each community. So right now, I think one community is about 700 folks. That one will fill up pretty fast. So if you have a WhatsApp, you can just open your WhatsApp camera If you open the WhatsApp and you want to join the group, obviously you don't have to, but if you open the WhatsApp, there is a camera right here. Hopefully you can see it. All you have to do is open the camera. Once you open, point to the QR code, a hyperlink will show up, and then you are in. What are the benefits of joining a WhatsApp group? Well, community, right? But that is too simplistic. The benefit is that we have people that are there maybe for 1 or 2 years. There are people that are going to support you. There are people that are making movements. They are making moves after they graduate. They are open business. That could be your next, that could be the person that you can get support. And ultimately, we have people passing every single day. They are giving you tips and how they did it. So the WhatsApp does not stop. It's 24 hours a day. That can be very helpful for some people, but it can also be anxiety provoking to others. Okay. We'll go back to the WhatsApp QR code later. You have the opportunity if have not been able to use the QR code. Now, the first thing you do once you join is watch the welcome video, which is this right here, right? Just giving this one live, and take your pre-diagnostic test. Your pre-diagnostic test is just like the board, 175 questions, 3.5 hours, and you should do it at once. Do not, I do not care necessarily what is your score at this point. I care at the end, right? We have people that are, start off with 40%. That's just a bit more than just guessing every question, right? Which is totally okay. As long as you know you may have to work a little bit harder. I would say the average score is about 55. So if you score 60, just a little bit above the average. If you score about 75 right from the start, I have never had one student that ever that scored 75 and did not pass the board. Ever. 6 years. Okay. So that means you really have a good solid foundation. Now, that being said, only about 5% of the students ever will score more than 80% right away on a pre-diagnostic test. So anywhere between 40 to 80 is, it's the average for our students from the beginning. Again, once you're done with that, we want to start the self-learning modules. So there are basically 5 modules. Module 6 is your crash course review. Module 7, 8, 9, and 10 is your diagnostic test. That's pretty much finish the modules. We also have module 11. You don't have to do it, but it's one-on-one learning that I have done in the past. I can't do it anymore because I have a lot of students. And module 12 is the recording of the live classes. Some people say, oh, I love the micro learning, small, short videos, but I prefer the live class. So I also recorded the live classes and I place it on module 12 for you. Now, the goal is to do one module per week for most people. If you want to finish this in 30 days, you just need to do a little bit faster and come to the live classes. They are the same content, I would say 90% of the time. Obviously, the live classes, there are always people talking, giving you tips. People that pass the board, they always come to the live class and say, gosh, I passed the board yesterday. Please follow the content. You will pass too. Okay? It is a good idea to do your one module per week and come to the live class to get those extra tips on how things went. Okay, so as I mentioned, first thing we do is the pre-diagnostic test. Then we have the core academics, which is modules 1 through 5, your scientific foundations, your diagnose advanced skills, diagnosis and treatments, and therapy. and the legal and ethics, module 5. Then module 6 is your crash course review. Now, our crash course review is super intense. If you notice, other people out there, they may do a 6 hours. We do it in 20 hours. The next crash course review, I'll have to look it up the schedule, but I believe it's July 25th, 26th. But you have a calendar that says we have one crash course review every month. We don't do it every weekly, but when we do it, it's intense. Okay, it's about 20 hours, 10 hours each day. It's just about 8 hours each day, and then I stay back for another 3-4 hours until all your questions are answered. Okay, then as I mentioned, the modules 7 to 10 is your full diagnostic test. Okay, so just a recap what a week per module looks like. We start with module 1. The idea is that every time you finish a module, you complete the question bank. We have some folks that like to do all the videos and then do the question bank. That's not usually a good tactic. You need to learn it or review the content and apply it. So finish module 1, do question bank 1, move to videos on module 2, finish videos 2, do question bank module 2, and you do the same scenario 1 through 5. When it comes to the crash course review, I do not recommend that you watch the videos.
Sorry, Mr. Lopez, I had a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So I paid already, but I don't seem to have access to the modules to the site.
Okay, let me find out your email in a second, and I'll make sure if something didn't go automatically, I'll make sure that you do have access. Okay. So I do not recommend necessarily that you watch the crash course review. Come to the live crash course review. Now, if you can't, maybe you have to work or something happens, then you have the video to watch. And then finally, we have what I call the final, is basically your diagnostic test. Your goal is to achieve 80%. If you do it the first time for each of the diagnostic tests, you should not fear. You will pass the board. Okay, you will pass the board with 97% reliability. That is extremely strong. Okay, so again, we kind of like the diagnostic test is really reliable for your performance, how much you have grown into the course. We are going to compare the first time you take diagnostic test, which is called the pre-diagnostic test, and at the end, because some people say, well, I've been working a lot, been studying a lot, and I feel that I don't know much. And then we pick up their diagnostic test from the beginning and compare with the same task at the end, and they see this 30% jump, 40% jump. Okay, courses very much allow you the opportunity to engage with your peers through WhatsApp and in the live classes. And we also suggest some remediation should you need some, maybe some things to focus on when it comes to the crash course review. This is pretty much the formula that I tell everyone. Make sure you know the 4 documents in the crash course review in detail. Make sure you finish the crash course review question bank, which is a set of questions inside of the question bank, and make sure you do your full diagnostic test. Okay, a minimum, right? If you need to cut some stuff out, those 3 things that I mentioned, they are not the ones to cut off. You want to complete that. And again, your target score is 80%. What if you do not achieve the 80%? You pause and then you make some adjustment. You take diagnostic test 1, and then you look for things that you didn't do well on. go back to your PDFs. Do not look at the videos. Again, it's going to take you a little while. So use your PDFs continuously. A lot of people like to print them and put in a binder and then kind of review the stuff that you still having trouble. And then you take the next diagnostic test. It does not mean if you don't achieve 80% that you will not pass. But in my mind, I like to make sure that you will. So by achieving the 80%, we kind of went over the threshold where 97, 99% of the people that has a very strong reliability for your success. Okay. All right. So we do use two systems, two learning management system. One is for the videos. The second one is for the question bank. So unfortunately, you have to log in for the video, and then you have to log in again for the question bank. Then the question is, what is your password? Is your email address for the course, and your password is PMHNP-BC capital letters. Okay. If you ever have questions, make sure you email us. I work 7 days a week, pretty much 12 hours a day, answering emails and support. Any question, if you don't understand what is acute stress disorder, how is it different than PTSD? Maybe you don't quite understand adjustment disorder. How is that different than conversion disorder? I'll find a different way to explain it. What I really want is for you to understand and feel comfortable the day you go test, knowing that you already passed the board, given that you have done it well on your diagnostic test. Okay, so don't wait to be ready. Attend every live classes. This doesn't matter where you're starting off. Attend every live class so that way you have covered everything at least twice before your test date. Again, active recall. Even though if you do one module per week and attend the live class, it's super important that you do active recall. You want to always keep it what you learn. Let's say you completed module 1 and you're moving on to module 2. Great. Before you start module 3, pick up your PDF and active recall. What is active recall? Instead of reading the PDF, just look at the title. Let's say it's lithium, and you say, okay, what are the medications that can elevate lithium levels? You can say NSAIDs, ACE inhibitors, ARBs, right? Anything that really decrease renal clearance. And then you kind of look it up. You're like, oh, I forgot about low sodium. Let's say that's the case, right? Then you kind of mark it down as one thing that you forgot to mention. But if you do that, you are going to review more often modules 1, 2, and 3. And there is a reason for that. If we look at the blueprint, there will be 107 questions from domains 1, 2, and 3, right? So if you review the most, those 3 domains, and if there are going to be 107 questions, that's where you want to put most of your effort in, where most of the questions will come from. I love how people say, oh, my only problem is psychotherapy. Well, if that's the only problem, then we have nothing to worry about because there are only 17 questions. And what we see the most is people spending most of their time in the psychotherapy modules, which is long. It is complicated because there's a lot of therapies or a lot of names, a lot of nuances, right? I'm not saying to throw away those 17 questions, but that's not where you should spend the time because that's not where most questions will come from. Okay, so active recall, some students like to do 1 module per week or 1 module per day. When you do active recall, you should not take more than an hour. If you want to do the active recall, it's just a simple strategy to pull the information out of your brain without reading. reading is passive. You want to be able to talk about it without seeing the content. If you do that, there is no other way for you to do that other than you know the content. Okay, so a different way to look at this is basically module one, you watch the videos, do the question bank, you kind of print your PDF, obviously, and you do active recall, start module two. Same format, videos, question bank, active recall, print your PDF, and keep moving on, right? So you start module one or week one, two, three, four, five. Week six is the crash course review. Week 7 and 8 is the fine tuning, which is your diagnostic test. Now, let me now just go through my own demo as far as the course itself. So if I go in my email, let me just quickly look at my email here. If I go in my email, so as you can see, I have a lot of emails, right? Lots of it. It's a lot of people. So if I go in my email, I just say, hey, I am starting now. I emailed myself. So you get this email. All you have to do is click your magic link, which is this right here. Okay, once you click it, you are in the course. If you'd like to, you can set up a password, which is fine. But if you don't want to, all you have to do is click the link and you are in. Let me do the entire screen. Okay, then you are in. So once I click on my magic link, then I am automatically, the course knows who I am, like you as the students, right? So it kind of always records where you stopped and you get this little animation. Hey, welcome. Here's my name. And then you start the course basically. Now, first thing you do is obviously watch this video. What do you do next? This is really should have been up. You start your diagnostic test is located right here. You click on it, enter the password, which for now is your email address. Because right now I clicked it, it kind of recognized me. Usually it would ask you to sign in and bring you to this page. If you want to do the pre-diagnostic test, you can come over here. Take the pre-diagnostic test. The pre-diagnostic test is the same thing as test number one. Okay, and then you start your test. Okay. Once you complete your test, you can go back to the course and then you start your module one. So I don't have a button that takes you from one system to the next. You just need to go back to your email or where the course is located. And then now you start your module one. Now, I know the email said, hey, this is your module one. So basically you click on video number one, you download your PDF, which is located on top of the videos, not below. Initially, throughout the course, we had it below the videos, right? And people couldn't find it. So I told my tech person, say, hey, look, I don't care what you do, make it highlighted so we can help people find it. So if you got an email that says, hey, below module one is where you find your videos, now you know why. So now you're on module one, you watch the video. Then if you click this, hey, I watched the video, you click the animation and you proceed to the next video below. Okay, so it's kind of like we're trying to motivate you every time you do something. At the end of each module, when you complete something, you get a prize, whether it's a special book or something along the way. Now, it is one PDF for each module, right? So this is your module one PDF. Then you go to the next module, next video, the clock drawing task, you watch the video, you complete it, you're tracking. Why is the tracking is important? Because now I'm following along. When you say, hey, I'm having trouble here or there, I know exactly where you are and I can provide some guidance, right? Again, you go to the next video. So if you see this video is only 5 minutes, right? So one small video, one topic at a time. You proceed to the next video and so on. Once you watch it, you keep on moving. And at the end of module one, you find it the question bank. So I don't want to go through each one of the 23 videos for module one, but I can go here, all trainings. Now I see all the modules in one location. I can go to module one. Now I see all the videos for module one. And at the end, if I follow the process, I'll arrive to module one, training number 23. And here is where you click for your question bank. Hey, click here. What is the email address? What's your email address? What is the password? And you are in the question bank. So basically, it is kind of simple once you know the rhythm or what to do. There are 5 modules plus the crash course review, 3 diagnostic tests, complete each module and complete its associated question banks. All right, so kind of now we kind of did the overall overview of the course and we did a demo, what it looks like as far as the course itself. Any questions whatsoever? No questions?
I have a question.
Sure,
So
yes.
the print PDF, is it per module or is just one site to
Per module.
per module?
Yeah, each module has its own PDF,
PDF, right? On the top.
right? On the top, yes. So, so other than module 6, which is the crash course review, they'll have 4 PDFs
Okay.
because it's the crash course review, right? So yes. So
Okay.
printed the PDF, it's a very good strategy because once you have watched the video or you understand the content, even if you don't want to do it the live and the recorded, you need to be reviewing the stuff that you covered. Remember, we do not put fluff in the course. We're going to straight to what we think will be on your board. Okay. And because it's dense, it's a lot of content still. But if the information is presented, most likely you need to know for your board. Okay. What else? Okay, we have our finals that week that you said, the 27th. It is totally okay. You're not rushed on. Focus on your school and come to the live classes as you if you can. So that way, at least you have done all your schooling and you come to the live classes if you can. And then after that, you can probably do it in 30 days because you already have covered most of it. So you can go a little bit faster than one module per week. Now, if you don't want to do it in 30 days, there is no rush. You can do it in 60. You can do it in 2 months, right? So you can do it in 2 months. So as long as the program perfectly allows you to accommodate for your lifestyle, whether you are a very busy person, whether you are still in school. So hopefully that answers your question. How do you access the question bank? Perfect. So the same way that we mentioned on the last video, um, is that the link for the question bank, right? Now you also receive the link for the question bank on your welcome email. If you go to your welcome email that says, hey, where's the question bank located? So let's go through this email real quick. So right now we have, this is your magic link. Okay, you can reset your password if you would like to. Right, this is my email login. This is your question bank. You go to this website, you see QBank, you enter your email address, the password that's genetic for everyone. And then we discussed a little bit what the 8 weeks study plan looks like. Module 1, videos, question bank 1, that would have been week 1. Okay. And then we kind of talk a little bit more about, hey, as you arrive to module 7 and 8, you have your diagnostic tasks. We talked about the second pass strategy, which is doing the videos plus the live. This is your schedule for the classes, for the live classes. We say this is the crash course review, whereas, the dates of the next crash course review. Active recall, join the WhatsApp group, and that's pretty much it. If you go to our main website, we have a course website, question bank website, and the main website. So we have kind of like 3 systems, but you only for use, for you only kind of use 2 of them, which is the question bank and the video course. If you go to our main website, which is www.mpexamcoach, all you have to do is go to QBank. It logs you in, or you can get the course access through here as well, right? So if you go to QBank, enter your email address, you get the password, you get the login for your question bank. The question bank and the diagnostic test is in the same location for your, which is this website. Okay. Alrighty. Any other questions? Anything that's in your mind that worries you?
Just a quick recap. So you recommend watching the videos, doing the quiz bank, and then kind of reviewing over the PDF, I believe.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. Because it's a lot of content, even though we pack it in a way that we are not spending a lot of time. What we cover will be on your board. Guarantee you this, okay? If we are covering, it is important. It is very, I would say 95% you will see it. Okay. Lino, I believe, or Li.
Yes.
Hi there. Hi, how can I help you?
Hi. So we just I think last week our professor said that the ANCC come out with the new books that they added more information to the new test. Is the materials cover those also?
So we cover, yes, it is covered what we think is most reliable. So the new book is just an update. 97%, 95%, it is exactly the same. You are more than welcome to buy the new book, but we actually provided to you the edition number 4. It is in the same location as module 1. We give you the PDF. Now, if you like the newest shiny stuff, you can buy the book. The blueprint did not change. Does it make sense? Even though they come up with a new book, because that's what they do. And no offense, right? Nothing has changed. The blueprint is exactly the same as was 2 years ago. Anytime there is an update in the test blueprint, we are immediately the next day updating our content just to make sure we are aligning perfectly. Now, sometimes because they updated a little while ago, the content was already in the course, but it might have been in a different module. So in that case, we don't need to necessarily update. Did I answer your question there?
Yes, thank you.
Yes. So you're more than welcome. It's a good question. A lot of people ask that question, but you're more than welcome to buy the new book. Personally, I would not. I have the new book. It's identical to the old book, not much different. And if you go to module 1, along with PDF for module 1, you actually have that included in a course for you, just in case you want to. Now, the reality is most students do not use nothing else other than what is provided in the course. Okay. But again, is very dependent on everyone's comfort level. Some people like to read more. Most students, all they use is exactly what is provided in the course. I would say we just slightly talk about narcissism or cluster B. If you want to know the details, yeah, it's always a good idea to read more. But we're not going to cover the detail. We're going to cover on the bigger picture to get you to give you a solid foundation for the test. Okay. What else is in your mind or any other question?
Hi, Dr. Lopez.
Hey,
Yeah. So my question is, how long will we have access to the material for?
so
What's the duration? Yeah.
up to 6 months. Now, that is a trap, right? It's a trap because us as humans, anytime we're giving a relaxed environment, we get relaxed. So what I'm trying to say is that ideally you want to do this in 8 to 10 weeks. Now, we have people that do it in 2 weeks, and we have people that do it in 6 months. What I highly suggest is you have a beginning and an end, and it's always good idea to hold yourself accountable by scheduling your test ahead of time, because once you have your test scheduled, now you're committed to testing that date, and the pressure will start building up. And giving you a little bit of pressure, it is important because it makes most of us move. If we know we have a due date for a paper, we'll get the paper done. If the paper can be done in 3 years from now, it'll be like, oh, I still got the year, I still got 6 months. And then I'll bet a lot of people still on the last week will not have the paper done. Okay. So we make you comfortable. We allow you to stay in the program up to 6 months or until you pass the board, whichever comes first. So we do not restrict you for how many crash courses you can attend. We do not restrict the support. We do not restrict you on how many classes you can attend. So this is very different than anybody else, right? Everybody else, one class, if you want to do it again, you have to pay for. We do not do that. All what we care is to see you pass the board. Okay. And this is a really true, genuine support that we do. We have a lot of people, someone that passed the board yesterday, Isabella. We have the Cahoots, they come live, right? You see them all day long. Unfortunately, very unfortunately, she came to the course on February. Her son had a stroke. This woman has been through the hoops. 12 years old, had a stroke, had a brain tumor, and she just passed the board yesterday. And when we say things like that, we're not just kind of like, saying it. We show you. All these people just passed the board probably 2 days. So let me just pull the tracker here. My email is the tracker. If I pull my email, we can count together live how many people just passed the board in the last, I don't know, an hour or two. If I say it, hey, why? And they tell me, hey, this is the most powerful course because we give you this flexibility, right? So all these people here are people that I emailed back. If it says a small favor, is because I emailed them back and say, hey, give me an honest review of what's going on. You can open any of these emails. It's always the same thing. If I open anybody's email, it says, hey, you see it right away. It doesn't matter. All of these people just passed the board, right? So we're talking about June 18th. So all of these people passed the board in the last 24 hours. Okay. And the only reason why I am kind of showing you this is that you trust the process. It is madness because it's a lot of content, but the results are right here. Okay. Uh, hopefully that answers some of your questions. What else is in your mind?
No, this is not a question, but I just want to tell you that we feel empowered now to study
Yes.
on track, and take the board as soon as we can. But thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Like I said, we have had people that failed the board 5 times. She is in one of your videos on the crash course. She's a nurse practitioner and she failed the board 5 times. Dr. Lynette, which was the second person that you just saw in this email, she was with somebody else. She came to us very anxious because she's a nurse practitioner and a very smart one, family nurse practitioner of 15 years, failed the board, passed with us. We had 2 68 years old students last year pass the board the first time. Now, Dr. Lynette, she did in 4 weeks with us. That's the one that failed the board. The other 68 years old, they took almost 6 months, but they still passed the first time, right? So there is a variation of cases. We had one student that had graduated 4 years ago, never took the board, completely went to do something else in life, and decided to come back to the field. And like, I do not remember anything. And I tell everyone, we have very smart students that come in. They're pretty much don't need the course. They probably could. And I tell them, I say, look, you score 85. Here's your money back. You don't need it. You will pass right now. And they're like, no, I really want to stay because I like it. But I'm telling you that you don't need it. Just like you do not need to buy the psychopharmacology course. That is an advanced course. Or either you do it while you're in school because you really, really want to know medication in depth, but the board will never be asking you that type of questions that are super under the microscope about which receptors, because the medication may activate different receptors, not just 1 or 2 or 3, maybe 10 different receptors. They are not going to ask you questions like that. What the board cares: black box warning, crazy side effects, and the weird things that are very specific to 1 or 2 medication. You put all your medication in different classes. You somewhat need to know, not really, you do not need to know doses, and you do not need to know medication in depth. Now, when you go practice, you absolutely should, because you have a precious life in your hand. Anyone that comes to you, they come for help, right? And they trust you. So you actually have a big power in your hands. You can help someone or you can totally break someone. So for that reason, I say you may not need to know super crazy details about medication for now, but later you should. Because if you do, not only you are a good provider, but you are helping someone that's in need. And when you are empowered, you can ask for more. Say, hey, look, I see everyone comes back. Or either you negotiate or I'm leaving. That's the truth, right? So, but for now, I think it's one step at a time, is learning what is needed to pass the board, is asking questions. I don't care what question you ask. All what I really want is that you ask any question that's in your mind. So that way you have a good clarity. Everything that you learned in the past 2 or 3 years, you can actually put together, take the test, and pass. Okay? And this is pretty much what we do in a nutshell. Okay? Any further question? Okay, then I'll finish this recording here. So that way anybody else that did not come for today's event, they can watch it. And then I'll stay back